The future. I don't know whether it's just me, but I seem to detect a change in the last few years. There seemed to be a growing mood of apprehension and anxiety about the future. Many observers have noted that the West and many parts of the world are often optimistic about the future and think it will be better than the present. But now people seem to be quite scared and worried that things are turning bad and from bad to worse. So it's an interesting subject. And I, like many others, think about it, although my future is quite short now, given my age. There are a few things one can say, and I've learnt about the future. One is that there is only one certainty about the future, which is that it is uncertain. We have no idea, beyond a very short space of time, what it will be like. It's like weather forecasting. You can roughly estimate what it will be like in the next few weeks and maybe months, but after that it's pretty uncertain. And likewise with economics, short-term predictions are not too bad, but long-term ones are usually completely out. And there's a very good reason for this, and particularly a reason why no scientific laws can predict the future, which was put forward by the philosopher, historian Karl Popper's law, in a short article in which he said the reason why we can't predict the future is that we don't know what we will know, because the future is much determined now by human thought, and it just takes one person to come along and have an idea, and it changes everything. An example I often think of is the young 22-year-old Alan Turing, sitting in a room in my college in Cambridge in 1936, writing a short article on calculating numbers. And in that article he specified how you could make an electronic computer and also how you could develop artificial intelligence. Now that has completely transformed our world, and there are increasingly, with technology and science, new discoveries, DNA and so on, which alter all the parameters. So we know we can't predict the future, and this is grounds for some optimism, I find, because when people are saying, oh dear, the world is going to hell in a handcart and we're destroying everything and there'll be no resources left in the forests and so on, I realize that it just will take one transforming discovery. For example, fusion energy, cheap fusion energy, which will be available to all and won't pollute anything, or hydrogen energy. And if that occurred, say, in 3 or 4 years, and we looked back in 10 years' time and say, well, why were they so worried? It was the same with the Industrial Revolution. When that came along, many people had observed that we had reached the limits of an agrarian world. 500 million people couldn't get out of the energy of the sun enough to live on. 3/4 of them were in dire poverty, as Gibbon pointed out. And even where the steam engine was invented, in Glasgow, down the corridor from James Watt was Adam Smith, and he didn't see that there was going to be an industrial revolution. He had no idea. I had a friend who was in Russia in 1989, Ernest Gellner, a great expert on Russian Soviet politics and so on, and he didn't see this revolution coming along. So we just don't know what's going to happen, and we need to keep a balance between pessimism, which will drive us to try and improve the future, and optimism, which means that nothing can be ruled out, and we may, in fact, in a few years look back to a really big transformation and switch. So keep your heart up.